All right, sweet. Can everybody hear me and see me?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, let's get started. So basically, today we're going to mainly be talking about, um, managing people, managing your team, managing VAs as you start to onboard them and hire them. And if you guys remember, when we went over this sheet right here, or at least this, and you guys have access to it inside of the program. Um, never ever hire someone or anyone unless you know exactly what role you're going to hire them for and you've detailed it out step by step, everything you want them to do. Right now, I've made this mistake plenty of times hiring people without having a step by step process. Right. But leadership and management is all about learning. You'll never be a perfect leader because there's problems that are always going to come up and you need to be ready to fix it. And as you pay attention to this right here, this specific um, layout that I made for you guys will always help you figure out where you need to improve. Sometimes you have to fire people in order to improve the system, the funnel, whatever it is. But a lot of times you can improve it just by making better trainings for them or explaining exactly what you want them to do step by step, right? Sometimes you can hire people where the battery is included, meaning they know somewhat of what you're talking about, and you just need to explain what you want them to do. Other people, they don't have batteries included. So you need to explain everything step by step, A to Z. So anytime you're about to hire, make sure you're following this roadmap. But now I'm going to go over really just how to
Oh, yo,
um
yo.
how to
I have a
manage
quick
people.
question.
Yeah, what's up?
Sorry for interrupting there, but the question I had too is like when you are hiring people, like when it's not like appointment size, like when it's like referring to like content creation, referring to like social media growth marketing, that type of thing. Um, do you want to hire by like what they specialize in and like one skill, or do you want to like hire them where if like let's say if they have two really good skills that they're really good at, would you just like hire the same person for that one, or would you just do it by specialization probably?
Well, you would hire them for what you need. That's really that's really what matters the most. Because if you see right here inside of
Yeah.
this, if it's a recurring problem or if it's a recurring thing you need and you can outsource it, then you can hire someone who's specifically made for that role. If it's multiple things you need and that one person can do all those things, again, you hire them for that role because they can do all these things, right? They can solve each one of those problems that you have on the content creation side. If it's an
Okay.
agency, it works, but a lot of times as you scale, you're not going to want to work with agencies. You're going to want everything to be in-house because when
Yeah,
it's
because
in-house,
agencies are expensive. I know that.
it's not just about the cost. When it's in-house, you have more control over everything, right? Because a lot of people will outsource to agencies, but they don't know what's going on, right? There's no communication, and sometimes there's no clear process of how things are going to work because you have your own process and they have their own process. As you scale, especially if as a business owner, you want everything in-house because when it's in-house, you control the speed of which everything moves. So now I'm going to kind of really just go over um, some things that I wrote down when it comes to managing people, managing VAs, right? So one of the most important ingredients, right, to success is really good employee management. And I'll add everything I'm reading into the program at a later date. But for right now, it's all going to be in this Zoom. But, it's really good employee management, no matter what, right? You can never get far by yourself. Like you can go fast if you do everything yourself. You can go even faster if you can delegate, and you can go farther if you work with people, right? Instead of going by yourself, because you will go really slow by yourself, even though you can do everything, but you're going to go really, really slow. So it's going to take you longer to see results. Whereas if you can delegate to people properly, right, you can move a lot faster and you can go a lot farther because you're not the only one carrying the weight, whether it's the company or if it's just a service, right? And a functional and efficient, work environment, it can be achieved through proper employee management, right? So some things that you do need to remember to be an effective leader is number one, you want to foster open communication, right? You want to communicate every day And a quick 5 to 10 minute call, with your virtual assistant or whoever you hire for a specific role in order to set goals and expectations, for the day, right? And a simple, catch up can help improve, their productivity no matter where, because let's say they were struggling that day, but because there's no communication or open communication, you don't know that they were struggling. You don't know what they were struggling with, right? Number two, you want to be consistent, right? Be consistent with what you say and do, right? If you set goals to achieve and you promise your VA incentives, make sure you follow through with it, right? It can also mean consistent communication with your VA, right? Number three, measure and monitor staff performance on a regular basis, right? So provide feedback if it's necessary, right? Because this can be done during, this can also be done during daily catch up, right? Every single time that you catch up with each other, or if you're catching up with your team, because the higher of a team you have, right? If it's just, let me kind of draw this out on the Zoom whiteboard for you guys. So I hope you guys can see this. Let me start drawing. So primarily, you can only manage so many people, right? And large businesses and large companies typically say one person can manage every 6 people, right? Now, when it's 6, it really comes down to who are those people. So if you're the head manager or the CEO or the owner or whatever, you're in charge, you want to manage the 6 most efficient people, meaning your main job is make sure they perform and do their jobs, because the higher up you go, each person is going to have 6 people, right? And it's all of them will have 6 people. The higher and the larger, if a company that has um over 50 team members is not going to function the same way as someone who only has 5 team members. And again, a company that has over 100 people, one person is not managing all 100 people, even if it's 100 VAs, right? Now, sure, some people can do it, but guess what? That system will break if you don't have the right structures in place to manage all of these people. So the more efficient you get at people management, and this is a learning skill, right? It's never going to be something that you master. So the better you get, the higher and the better you will perform, because your team's performance comes down to you. If you're the coach of a team, when the team loses, everyone's going to look at you, because guess what? You made the lineup. You gave them instructions to follow. They may not follow it, but it's your job to make sure they follow your instructions, right? And just to kind of, I hope that made sense. So just to kind of continue from here, let me see if I can find my doc. All right. Number 4 is encourage the staff, your people, to voice out their opinions and ideas, right? Ask them questions. Be open to their feedback and ideas. And this is going to help you guys grow a lot faster as a team, right? And a lot of you, as you become growth specialists for people, right, you will start to notice you can do something better than somebody else, but you need to pull back and let them do it so that they can actually improve. Because if they keep making mistakes and you keep jumping in, I got it, they're never going to learn. They're never going to get better. They might learn from seeing you do it, but they'll never do it as good as you, because you're basically teaching them every time they mess up, call you and you're going to fix the problem. But what you want is they shouldn't call you every single time there's a problem. They should fix it, or at least attempt to fix it before coming to you. If there's a manager on top of them before you, they should go to that manager first. If that manager cannot solve that problem, then they come to you. And again, each level, right? This is what you want. This is what you want to see happening, right? Let me pull up this Miro board I made a little while back. Let me pull it up. Not Miro, Lucid. Okay, let me find it. All right, let me share again. This is actually pretty good. It's good to show you guys. because one of the cool things about making a bunch of stuff that you don't use, but you don't delete them and you use them later, is that at the time you needed it, but then you don't need it anymore. But then, you basically figure out that you need it, right? So this right here, I hope you guys can see the entire board. I'll zoom out if I need to. Let me see what's on page 2. Okay, let's go back to page 1. So in every team structure, right? And I made this because, right now we're scaling to $1 million a year consistently. Like that's the goal. And I had to break everything down statistically, right? So literally every section of the business will need these people as we scale. It's going to need decision makers, and they're going to have their objectives, right? Then below the decision makers are going to be the smart laborers. These are the integrators on the team. These are the consultants. These are media buyers. These are the sales experts. These are all they're higher level because they are able to think and work at the same time, right? They help drive the key results, right? Then you have the regular laborers. These are the people that can only do one task at a time. They can't, yes, you can give them more than one, but they have a hard time just being able to manage that, right? And you'll see this everywhere in the world. There are people that are really good at thinking. There are people that are really good at working. They may not be able to think multiple steps ahead, but they can get the job done as long as you tell them what to do. You also have the people that you don't need to tell them what to do all the time. You just tell them once and they'll do it. And then you have the people that are really good at creating strategies, planning, coming up with stuff, right? And so it's separated by regular laborers. These are the people that are VAs. They can do 1 to 2 repetitive tasks. They're basically a growth team, right? And the growth team involves appointment setters, and really just there's not too much skill needed in these roles, right? And you just give them one-off assignments, or who came in? Let me see. Okay, it's Byron. These are basically the people that, there's not too much skill needed for their specific role, specific position, right? So they're one-off assignments, or you give them 1 to 2 repetitive tasks. The next level up are the smart laborers, right? They're able to do multiple tasks, right? They're also good at holding themselves accountable, and you don't got to tell them things over and over again. And then you have the decision makers, right? These are the people that you're essentially paying them to make decisions for you. They don't have to come to you to make a decision, right? And I think I heard this from George. You said to level up a smart laborer, you must have a system in your mind to do things with ease. Exactly. No worries, Byron. And I heard this from Alex Ramosi, right? Sometimes it's going to cost you a lot more money just to train someone than to pay someone who already has the ability to make decisions for you. Because when you're hiring decision makers, you don't want someone who you have to train. You want someone who already knows what to do, right? And I know this is pretty high level and you guys aren't at this stage yet, but it's key to have this stuff in mind where if you're hiring, are they going to be a decision maker? Are they going to be a smart laborer? Or are you just hiring them to do regular labor, right? Because now it'll help you basically reframe what you need to place in for that specific position, right? Like for us, right, scaling to $1 million a year consistently, right? We would likely need 34 customers a month at 2.5, basically, let's say we were charging 2.5K, right? We would need to be doing that per month, right? Signing this many people per month, right? Just at this price per month, right? That means we need likely 20 meetings with qualified leads per day or even per month, right? If we're saying per day, then we need at least 60 prospects to get those 20 qualified meetings, right? And then we would need to have a really efficient back-end onboarding system, right? Basically, and there's a few different ways you can have an onboarding system, right? And this is good for you guys to know, yeah, you're not leading a team yet, right? But when you're onboarding, whether it's you're onboarding clients or you're onboarding employees, right? Going back to the Miro board, you need this stuff to be as efficient as possible, right? So let's say we were onboarding 34 new clients a month, right? We don't want a system that breaks. So instead of doing one onboarding call for every person that joins, we would likely have group onboarding calls, right? Let's say 2 to 3 group onboarding calls per week. They pick which one they want to join. After they join the program, they join the onboarding call and you get everything going, right? So we would need to have this type of stuff set up and be implemented within the first week of them joining, right? Because the faster you can help someone see and experience your service or your program, but mainly your service, the quicker they're going to feel more confident in whatever they've just paid you, right? And then as you can see right here, I basically broke it down, right? So these people right here, they would fall under smart laborers, right? None of them would fit under decision makers. But this right here is basically the regular laborers, right? We would need to be doing at least 150 outreach a day. We need to be taking at least 3 sales calls a day. We need to be doing at least 40 follow-ups with old prospects per day. And then we need at least 3 pieces of content dropping every single day on every platform, right? I could hire specifically for just these tasks, right? Or I can hire as a group, right? Maybe one person is doing all of this. It's possible. It's not impossible, right? But they would need to be either a smart laborer or a decision maker. If they're a decision maker, that means they're not just doing this, but they're actively figuring out, how can I improve this? How can I make this so that I'm not working as much, but I'm still getting my job done, right? If they're just a smart laborer, they're going to do this and they're going to get it done every single day. If they're the regular laborer, they might be able to do 1 or 2 of these, right? So sometimes skill level isn't just based on what you think you can do, it's based on what type of results you're getting, right? If they're getting you good results, you can test them to see how they would fit into the higher level. But if they can't do it, put them back down and keep them focused on whatever it is that they're doing, right? Let me see what I wrote here. Cool. So here basically means that, we would need to be always focused on the outcomes, right? So just like you guys, you need to be focused on the outcome that you're getting with the work you're doing or the work that your team is initially doing, right? So basically the outcomes you want to focus on are things that make it unreasonable for let's say your client to not get a result that you want them to get, right? You have to make it unreasonable for them not to get the result if they follow this step by step. So to do, right here, I wrote what needs to get done to make sure that key results are achieved. So basically what needs to get done by everyone to make sure that the objectives, the key results that you set are actually achieved, right? Up here, you're probably wondering what offer, acquisition, and fulfillment is. This is basically what's needed in everything, right? The offer, needs versus want. What type of value are they getting in your offer? What is the price of your offer? Acquisition, right? This is where marketing and sales comes into play, right? For if you guys are going down the route of agency, right? Or having your own offer, your own business, your own agency, on your acquisition side, you need good marketing and good sales. So what would you need for sales? A closer, a discovery call taker, right? These are likely the people that would need to be hired. On the marketing side, it's content and then an appointment setting or growth team, right? These are people that are actively getting people's attention, right? The appointment setters, they might not be getting the attention, but the growth specialists in your growth team are posting content, are reaching out in Facebook groups, are reaching out on Twitter, are repurposing your content, your long form content. They're taking long form content and breaking it down into shorter pieces of content and just getting it in front of people, right? Because the more people you get in front of for your business or for your client's business, the more people that their business is placed in front of, the higher chance of calls getting booked and then higher chance of closing deals, right? On the fulfillment side, what they need is speed. How fast can you deliver? How fast can they deliver their service? How fast can they get a result for someone so that they feel confident about signing up for your service, for their service, their offer, their program, whatever it is, right? So speed comes with how quickly you're delivering the promise that you made on that sales call, how quickly your onboarding team onboards a new client, and obviously open communication. The clearer you make it for someone that just paid you a couple $1,000, right? You need to communicate, because what if it was their last $5,000? you don't want them to ask you for a refund. And the clearest way to keep that from happening is open communication. You tell them, okay, this is what's going to happen next. This is what's going to happen next. This is what's going to happen next. Right? I can't do this until you give me these things. So when you give me these things, I can do my job. Right? So now they understand that they're probably holding you back. Right? So they can't be mad at you after they paid you because they're the ones not giving you what you need in order to work. Right? So I kind of hope that this specific section made sense. So now let me, I'm going to close this and then I'm going to get back into continuing on the managing people part. So to continue, let me get my doc. Sweet. So number 5, right? I kind of went over this already, but have clear goals and objectives, right? Set up a clear goal that you want to achieve with your staff, right? This is to make sure that you are aligned with what you actually want to achieve, right? There's reward and there's just rewarding people. And then when there's rewarding people for work that you recognize they put in without you needing to tell them that, right? So you need to incentivize people a lot of times, right? And if they're doing well, there's no reason for you not to incentivize them. If they're not doing well, tell them, right? Give feedback or give them, incentives that actually make sense, right? Number 6 was reward and recognize hard work. Number 7, make sure that you have patience, right? A lot of times, even me, I catch myself doing this, is being impatient with results, right? So VAs and whoever you hire, they may ask you questions when they're uncertain. So make sure that you're actually open to answering those questions and you're providing additional information, right? It is better for those VAs to ask questions than waste their time doing the wrong thing. Because the longer they do the wrong thing, the longer it's going to take for you and your team to actually see results, right? So number 8, provide an opportunity for them to grow. So align your goals and give them the opportunity to grow inside of your company, right? It could be free training, it could be increasing their pay, or it could be additional, whatever you choose to incentivize them with, or whatever they want to achieve. If you can help them and create a roadmap where they can see that they're going to achieve their goal, whether it's working with you or at least working with you for a long enough period of time, they're going to stick with you, right? But again, results and them seeing results from not just the work you're doing, but from the work they're doing is what's going to really keep people working with you. Some people, it's just about the money, but there are other people that have longer term vision. So if you can connect their vision with your vision or with your company's vision or with the company that you're working with's vision, right? The longer they're going to stay with you and actually see how they can help you get better results, right? And so I'm going to start going over now, like certain things that you do need to coordinate with virtual assistants that you hire, right? It's time of work, right? Set a definite time of work for some people. Some people, you need to give them a specific time to work, or they're just going to be lazy and not get the work done, right? Some people don't need a specific time. They're just going to get the work done for the day, right? So if you're giving them a specific time, it could be the number of hours they're required to work, how many days a week that they should work, right? Number 2 is time tracking. Sometimes you don't need to track their time, but there are going to be roles that you need to track how much time they're spending during the day, right? So you can use different time tracking tools, right? A good one is Jibble. It's spelled Jibble. I'll type it in the chat, but you guys will also have access to this doc when I upload it into the program. Let me type it in the Zoom chat. This can help you track the time that a virtual assistant is working. And then, literally track their working time, right? Sometimes you don't need to do that, but there are people that aren't really going to do any work unless you're actually tracking the amount of time that they're working, right? Let me see. Give me 1 second. Okay. Sweet. So if you want your virtual assistant to be great and actually do amazing things for you, you want to do, the opposite of most things, right? And that's really by lowering your expectations when it comes to your virtual assistants, right? Lower your expectations with the timeline that your virtual assistant is supposed to get results in. And a lot of times, what you're going to see with timelines is, let's say you have goals set for 30 days, double the time and make that your expectation, right? So you could have 30-day goals, but now reflect, double the goal, and then set that 60-day goal as your actual expectation, not your 30-day goal. The same thing, if you have 3 months goal and your expectation of what you want to achieve in 3 months, double the time, set that as your expectation, and then push for that, because you'll likely see that 6 months result faster than you see the 3 months result, right? So every day, 3 times per day, you should look at what your virtual assistant is doing, right? Whether it's the beginning of their shift, middle of the day, or the end of their shift if you're giving them specific hours, right? So never claim that an employee didn't perform, a month later, when you never really invested a single minute training them on how to perform for the role that you're hiring them for, right? Never just rely on video training. Make sure you get some one-on-one time with them, right? And I struggled with this part too, because sometimes I just expected people to just watch a training and get it done. But you actually do need to spend one-on-one time with people to make sure that they're actually doing it right, right? So this could be you doing it or someone on your team doing it with them, right? Because the ROI on the time spent with them, and if you don't know what ROI is, it's return on investment, is a lot better than not spending any time with them at all, right? So believe that your virtual assistant or virtual assistants can actually achieve the things that you believe they can achieve, things you've never dreamed of, with the right training and guidance, right? Because if you just hire them and you don't actually believe they can get the work done, there's no point in hiring them, right? Because then you're just wasting your time and you're just wasting their time, right? So the fastest way to becoming great is to get fast feedback from your coach. And so just like the virtual assistant, the fastest time for them to get results is getting feedback from you, right? So become a coach with your virtual assistants and never delay sharing feedback with them unless you like people to do bad things, right? So if you have things to say to them, but you're not saying it to them, you may be complaining to other people, but if you're not actually taking the time to say it to them, then what's the point of having them on your team? Because they're just going to continue to get bad results and not get good results the longer you delay actually communicating with them, right? And you all know incentives run the world, right? Training sessions, video trainings, shadowing sessions, and a touch base everything, every single day. It's great. It'll do a lot of work in order to bring them results. But a lot of times for people to perform, there's only one thing that beats all the training, and that is what you're incentivizing them with, right? It's either how much you're paying them or if you're actually helping them, get to their goals, right? And then one other important thing is, again, I went over mission and value already, but you also want to have great assets. You want to make it easy for them to understand what they need to do, right? And the most common reason why people who hire virtual assistants fail is typically because they're not actually tracking them, right? They expect them, literally the opposite of everything I just told you not to expect. They expect them to know everything. They expect them to get results tomorrow. They don't keep track of the work that they're doing. They show up a month later and they're mad that, the entire month that they weren't talking to that virtual assistant, they're mad the virtual assistant didn't get results when they spent a whole month not talking to them, right? They assume that having a virtual assistant go through some video trainings, and that's what I did, is going to turn them into experts at what they're doing, right? And sometimes they don't even believe that the virtual assistant can achieve the things, right? And they don't share feedback, right? So that's the opposite of everything I just told you, right? And let me look at the last doc. Essentially, with people, managing people, right, is the responsibility is yours to make it work. The moment you hire someone, it's your responsibility to make it work. And if you explain to everything step by step, walk them through it multiple times and they still do it wrong, then that's when you need to take responsibility, let them go and hire someone new, right? So one of the best ways to train someone, do the thing, use Loom to film your screen while you're doing the thing, share the videos with them, right? As well as spend some one-on-one time training with them. And you can also look for there's lots of videos on YouTube that can train them as well. So if you find a good video, don't be afraid to send it to them, right? Get them to implement the things that you want them to do, shadow them for at least 30 minutes per day for a few days, right? Tell them what to do, hop on a Zoom call and just sit on the Zoom, let them work, look at what they're doing, and just be open for questions, right? And, sometimes you do need to spend daily 5 to 10 minutes talking to them and just tracking their progress and build some form of culture that helps them understand that this is the type of environment, right? And one other thing I recently learned from Alex Ramosi, you set the tone, right? If you tell someone to get something done, right? Let's say, hey, get this, let's say you assign them something and then they say, I'll get it done by the end of the week. It's cool. It's cool, right? But you can say, well, why not today, right? They'll probably give you an excuse of why they can't get it done today. And then, well, why is that more important than getting it done today, right? If they say, oh, I've got a meeting, okay, cool, do it after the meeting, right? Because you need to set the tone, right? Because if you think about it, a lot of times when people say they can get something to you by the end of the week, it doesn't really take all week, right? And you also notice a lot of times, right? People just like wasting time. So if you can set the tone that you move, like me, I've caught myself doing this too. I'm like, oh, I'll get it done tomorrow. I'll get it done next week. When in reality, all it would take for me to get it done is 1 hour or 30 minutes. But because I think it's going to take 30 minutes, oh, I'll just spend 30 minutes tomorrow, or I'll spend 30 minutes next week. When in reality, if I got it done today, I wouldn't need to worry about it tomorrow, right? And having that mindset, I've finished multiple websites, landing pages in a single day, right? They may not be perfect, but I finished them. Now I put it out there, right? Whether it's for myself or clients, and I just make sure that I just improve it, right? One thing I got from one of my coaches in the past, now mind you, she owns 15 different businesses, right? She's in her 30s. She owns 15 different businesses, and she made her first million at the age of 21. And then she made her first 8 figures at the age of 24 when she sold her agency, right? And one thing she always said is it doesn't need to be perfect. Just get it done and put it out there, right? So the faster you get things done and you put it out there, then you can see if it works or not, and you can perfect it later, right? It doesn't need to be beautiful right now. You just need to get it out there and then make it beautiful later. It's the same thing with content. Like for me, in the past, when I first was dropping content, I would spend a lot of time making sure the editing was perfect. But as I just kept putting things out there, it became easier and easier for me to make better content. And then when it came to editing it, it became easier to edit because I would put it out there. So I increased my skill of talking in front of the camera, saying the right things, remembering what to say, so I don't have to read a script all the time. And now I can just record a piece of content. It could be 10 minutes long. It could be 30 minutes long. I can just keep on talking without needing to constantly look at what I need to say. And so now, let's say I'm editing it or I send it to an editor. That editor has an easier time editing. I have an easier time editing because I've gotten good at just saying what I need to say without pausing and looking around, pausing the video, making sure I get back in the video so that I look good in the video, right? All these different things, I just got better over time by working that muscle, right? Everything is a muscle, right? Discipline is a muscle. You got to work on it to make it stronger. To have more discipline, you need to start small. And the better you get at those small things, it's going to be easier to be more disciplined in the bigger things, right? And discipline is initially what's going to help you make more money, right? The money you're making right now comes to your discipline. Now, you may be disciplined and you've been making money, but your discipline on learning new skills, taking action on the skills that you're learning, and overall improving is what's going to determine how much more money you're going to make, right? Because the amount of time that you're willing to spend to learn something new, the amount of time that you're willing to spend to get better at anything determines how quickly you improve, how quickly you get things done, how quickly you get a result, right? Like George said, he said it's having a do it now mindset, right? If one good thing that I started implementing a while back is I have a reminder. Now it's 1 hour, but I used to have a reminder for every 30 minutes. And every single time I saw the reminder, it basically, what are you doing right now? Is it something that is helping you or your business move forward? Or is it something that's just wasting your time? Because what you'll see, the more time you waste, there's nothing wrong with wasting time, right? Sometimes you do need to relax and just let your mind like rewind. But a lot of times you'll catch, like I did it so I could catch myself every time I was wasting time, right? I'll show you guys what's on my to-do list, right? And I update it every single time, whether it's someone on my team that tells me something, or my coaches tell me something, or if it's something that I think of that I need to do, right? So I'm going to show you guys my to-do list. Let me see. All right. Let me know if you guys can see this. All right. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Sweet. So literally every time something comes to my mind, I type it on my to-do list, right? And it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And if I'm going to keep wasting time, I'm never going to get anything done. So every time my reminder for every hour goes off, I use it to get something done because, oh, I have things to do. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do that. So I look at this, right? And some of them, I want to look at it every single day, right? Like right here, have boring work necessary, refresh ads, good offers, work leads, follow up, sales calls, and know my numbers, right? Another one that I have for daily is look over and update my business notes, right? And as like the to-do list can keep going, right? And sometimes it's unnecessary things, but I still have it, right? Like I'm turning 21 on the 21st day of February in the 21st century, right? So I just wanted to write that down, right? But every single time, it's good to write things that you want to get done down. I used to use sticky notes, but I would have a ton of sticky notes all over my desk. So now I just started making a to-do list, right? Things I got to get done. I just put it on that list. So now every single time, and don't number your lists, because if you number them, I think I got this from the book Relentless. He said some people, when they number their lists, they assume that's how important it is, right? Like number 1 is the most important. So number 3 isn't that important. Don't number your list because it will keep your mind focused that I know I need to get all these things done. But if I numbered them, that's my priority. I'm going to, okay, this is number 1. So let me get number 1 done. Oh, this is number 10. So I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. But because I just have them here, I'll get them done, right? Without having to, oh, well, this is number 1 on my list. Sometimes you do need to prioritize, right? Let's say something is going to take you a lot longer. Try to get it done now. But a lot of times it's better to just have everything on one list and get it done. So I hope that makes sense. Before I continue, Byron, you raised your hand.
Yeah, what like Apple website do you use for that?
This is just the reminders app.
Is
So
that like an Apple thing?
So here's what's cool, right? So I use this, but you can also, if you don't have, so this is Apple, right? This is my MacBook.
Yeah.
Like I have the reminders app on my phone and it automatically syncs to this, right? So I can do it on my phone and on my computer. If you don't have an iPhone, right, or a MacBook computer, what you can use is Google Calendar. And on Google Calendar, there's the Google Task app. I'll type it in the Zoom chat. There's the Google Task, right? It automatically syncs to your Google Calendar, right? So everything you add on there is gonna pop up on your Google Calendar. That's why I told you guys to get really familiar with Google Calendar, because I may have Apple, but I still use Google Calendar because it's, to me, it's better than Apple Calendar. Maybe in the future I stop using Google Calendar, but Google Calendar literally syncs with everything, right? So I have Google Calendar. I can add stuff on here, stuff on this to-do list. I can add them to my Apple Calendar and it will appear in my Google Calendar because my Apple Calendar is synced to my Google Calendar. So Google Task app, right? So they don't have a computer app, they have a phone app, but everything you update on it is going to automatically go to the Google Calendar. So for me, every time, because I have like, it's hard for me to remember everything, every single thing I need to do. So in order to remember what you need to do, start writing it down, right? Because to me, I used to think, oh, old people have to write things down. But in reality, you can never really hold everything you need to get done. And to me, a lot of times, if I don't actually write it down, I'm not going to get it done because I'm going to forget about it, or I'm going to prioritize other things, especially now when my time is being more and more stacked. I'm constantly having meetings. I never have time to get things done, right? I'm going to show you guys my calendar right now just to show you why it's important to block time on your calendar to just work, whether it's doing focused work, going to the gym, or whatever. It's important to just block that amount of time so that you know nothing can be placed in that specific time, right? And I get this from Alex Ramosi, $100 million a year, right? And for him, he wakes up at 4 a.m. and from 4 a.m. or 4 to 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. or to 11 a.m., he gets all the most important things done because he knows that at 10 a.m., whenever he opens his phone, that's when all the messages are going to be coming through, everyone's business, all his clients. That's when all the noise comes into play. And he knows that he can no longer concentrate on doing the important things, right? So I started doing that by just blocking 3 to 4 hours, sometimes more, get the important things done, like the things that are going to move the needle the most inside of the business, the bigger things. This could be content. This can be creating content for the program. Like this is for me. This could be creating a website, working on a VSL, working on a presentation, working on trainings, all these important things that need to get done that will take the most amount of my time. I'll create a time block on my calendar and I'll put it at that time. It could be, let's say I'm about to record content. So for me, if I don't record content in the morning or during the night, I'm not going to do it, right? Because when I try to do it in the middle of the day, there's so many notifications, there's so many messages coming in that I'm getting distracted from recording content. So for me, I'll put either early in the morning or late at night when everyone is asleep. That's when I like to get it done because everyone is asleep. Nobody's going to bother me. Nobody's going to send me a message. Nobody's going to, there's no real emergencies that will happen in the business that absolutely need my attention, right? So that's when I'll it's so important to have time blocks to get important work done, or else you're never really going to get it done if there's a lot of noise. Right now, there might not be a lot of noise for you guys, but as you level up, as you get better and better at what you do, as you make more and more money, as you level up in skill, you're going to want to be blocking out your time. And this is why, let me see. I don't know if I deleted it. Okay, I didn't delete it. Right? This is why it's so important to follow this right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. As you guys scale and make more money, whether it's your own business or if you're partners with someone and you're helping their business grow, you need this right here. You need the people that are going to be doing regular labor. You need the people that are going to be doing smart labor, and you will absolutely need decision makers. Like for me, as I scale this program, as I scale the agency, I'm going to need decision makers, because if I'm the only one making decisions and I cannot trust anyone else to make decisions, the business is going to be limited and we're never going to scale past a certain number. Again, if I'm trying to do all the smart labor and I never trust anyone on my team to do any smart labor, the business is going to be limited. And again, if I'm doing literally everything step by step, I may get to a certain distance, but I will move incredibly slow. And you may notice this in a lot of your local businesses, right? It can be mom and pop shops, coffee shops, grocery stores, small grocery stores, mini marts, gas stations, right? I recently learned this in New Jersey, the state I live in. It's the only state in the United States that doesn't allow people to pump their own gas. And the reason is small business owners wanted to protect themselves, I think, from like big gas stations, the big companies. You can do it yourself. Why? Because it's going to cost less to hire someone every single time. Whereas the small gas stations that don't let you pump your own gas, you need to hire somebody. So the fact that you need to hire someone is going to hold you back from actually growing, because they don't want to make the sacrifice of letting people do it themselves, right? So in that same scenario, if I'm holding myself back by trying to do everything by myself, yeah, just because I can do it doesn't mean I need to do it, right? I get this from Russell Brunson, and you hear me quoting a lot of these people. Russell Brunson stated, me being a 2, like I could be a 2 at making the right decisions. I could be a 2 at doing the smart labor. I could be a 2 at doing the regular labor, right? I could also be a 10 at doing all of this, but because I have so little time, my performance is a 6, a 3, or even a 2, or even a 1, right? So now if I'm hiring someone, I can hire them, turn them into an 8. And because they're an 8, I'm no longer doing it. Them being an 8 and getting it done every single day is much better than me being a 10, but only being able to put 2 hours a day into it. So,
Duno.
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but when I was networking with this one person today, he told me like this really good script that he recommended that he used as well. I'm not like changing scripts over and over. I'm still like trying through trial and error to see like which one works best. You know what I mean? I wanted to hear your thoughts on this one. So basically, he says, "Hey, is this the best place for questions?" Just so then they like answer, so it doesn't go in the spam folder. And then he said, "Okay, first off, this is not a or message center. My name is XYZ. I am a young entrepreneur trying to help businesses and impact in a positive way. I help businesses with content marketing and community building to increase brand loyalty and brand awareness. Is this something your company would be interested in?" And he does like engagement specialist too. So that's why I wanted to hear what your thoughts were on that a little bit. You think
Yeah,
it's like kind of
it's the
spammy?
same one. It sounds like the same one you've been using. So yeah, it's good.
Okay, cool.
Sweet. So yeah, that's basically what I was saying, guys. I don't know if you have any any questions on this specifically, but I'm basically almost done. I think there's one more thing I wanted to go over with you guys. I think Byron or George raised their hand to say something. Yes, no?
No, I didn't.
Okay, cool. George, I think so. Yeah. Oh,
No. I don't think I did.
oh, you wrote everything is number 1 in your list. Yep.
Yeah, I wrote some stuff. But
Yep.
oh yeah, question. I see. Yeah. Why is it easier to do like a physical task rather than like a mental task?
So there's a big difference between it. Everything is mental, right?
Mm-hmm.
The difference is how much energy you're willing to put, right? Because there's things that take a lot of mental energy, and I think this is what you mean. And there are things that take a lot of physical energy, but not a lot of mental energy. And then there's vice versa, right? And the reason it's sometimes easier to do the physical task is because it's not as tedious. Certain things are tedious, right? Let's say you're roofing, right? And you have to nail the same sheet, I forget what it's called, the same shingle every single time. You just gotta, nail the same thing every single time, right?
The
Where
felt.
it takes the mental energy is the architecture, right? Actually planning the building, actually planning the roof, making sure everything works, making sure
Measuring.
exactly that takes a lot of the mental work. Same with, like email and doing outreach. it's manual labor, right? In terms of if you're doing outreach, you need to search and do this all the time, search and do this and do that. It's the same tediousness. The difference is, and a lot of times it's because it seems so little, right? It seems like it's the same thing over and over, but we don't want to do it because we're not getting results from doing it. So like roofing, and you're constantly nailing the same thing over and over, you're getting a result. You know
You take-
what result you're getting every single time you do it.
Because you take a step back when you're roofing after like an hour and you see the progress you make and you want to do more. But with
Exactly.
this, it's harder to see the progress. That's why
Exactly.
you implemented the timesheets and stuff. Is that why you've done that?
Yep. And it's not
Okay.
just the timesheet, it's the tracking as well. Because when
Yeah.
you like the difference between doing online stuff and physical stuff is you can't really see the results unless you're tracking it, right? There's a thing I got from I think it's Alex Berman, right? It's lead measures and lag measures, right? And I forget which is which, and I might have spelled them wrong. I'm probably saying it wrong, but basically there are things that you track where it's not up to you. You don't get the final say. And then there are things that you track where you can actually, if you constantly do the same work over and over and over, you know you're going to get a result because that's what you're tracking, right? You can track sending 50 outreach a day. You can track sending 200 emails a day. You can track cold calling 20 people a day. What you can't track is how many responses you're going to get. What you can't track is how many replies you're going to get, right? Those aren't up to you. But what is up to you is the amount that you're doing, right? I forget, it's lead versus lag or a different name, but it's basically saying don't track the things that are out of your control. Don't track how many replies you're getting. Yes, it's important to track that.
I assume that's the
Track.
lag.
Exactly. Don't track what's out of your control. Track what's in your control because you will feel a lot. You're literally our egos, right? Your ego is going to feel more satisfied when you're tracking. Okay, shoot, I did 50 outreach today. I did 100 outreach today. I did 1,000 outreach today, right? There are ways of doing that. Right now, you might be saying, oh, how do I do 1,000 outreach today? Well, let's say you're leveraging different platforms, right? Let's say you're leveraging email. In email, you can buy what? 10 domains, 100 domains, and basically you automate the entire process and do 1,000 outreach a day, 30,000 a day.
Like I
right?
know like one
So-
dude, he does like the same thing where he what's it called? What was I about to say? Yeah, he does like the same thing where he like bought I think 50 domains for this like one thing, and then I think he uses this thing called Lemlist, but I'm not exactly sure. And then he just blasts out like email after email, but he can do it like in bulk at the same time, so it's like easier for him to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I use Instantly, and
Wait, what is
another
it?
guy, Instantly.
Wait, can you send a link in the chat so that I can try to upload it to my computer at some point?
Instantly.
Perfect.
Instantly.ai.
Let's see. Instantly email marketing.
So with Instantly, right now I have 10 domains doing cold outreach. And just for showing you guys and based on our results, I'm putting this stuff in the program. That way you guys can use it for yourselves or you can use it for your own clients. Let me pull it up real quick.
It's all going in Notion, or this is going to be okay. So
let me log in. Oh, there we go. All right, I'm gonna show it to you guys. Let me share. All right, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Sweet. So basically, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I've got 10 domains in here, right? And you can see a lot of them are similar. Got commissionbasedsetters.com, commissionbasedsetters.net, commissionbasedsetters.org, but they all redirect. Like it's complicated stuff, but they all redirect to one website. So, which is this one, right? If anybody wants to learn about what we do, they would go to this website, right? And the reason for that is, let's say somebody puts commissionbasedsetters.com just to see if we're legit. They wouldn't go to this domain. They would be sent to our one main domain, right? But this is complicated stuff that I can explain later. But basically, I have one campaign going right now, right? And so far, it's sent 900 emails out. We've had 511 emails opened, and we've had 29 replies, right? And this is just email, right? Now, the uni box is where I can check replies. But basically, just like I'm doing Instagram outreach, we have one message being sent throughout. Let me see if I can show you guys the current message. But you look at the analytics, it's something somewhat good, right? Because I mean, it's been only 2 days, but 900 sent, 65% open rate, and then a 4.8% reply rate, and 8 of them are opportunities, right? But it's automatically tracking that themselves. And literally, the reason why email is so effective and good and still works is because everyone has an email account, right? But the reason we leverage social outreach and email is when you can reach out to a company on email and social media, now you've just increased your chances of getting a reply. Let's say you're working for ecom. Yeah, you can get their email pretty easily, but if you reach out to them on social media, get their email from social media, then reach out to them, now there's a higher chance of getting a reply, right? If I remember I told you guys this 2 days ago. Let's say you're doing an audit for their business and you reach out to them on Instagram. Hey, can I shoot you over an audit I did of your company? You could send them that on email and get a reply, but you sending them that on Instagram shows initiative, right? It shows you really want to get their attention. They're probably going to say, okay, email it to me here. You'll probably get a better email to email it to compared to the email that you got online, the one on their website, right? And the reason is, depending on the size of that company, it'll be harder to reach them from that public email versus the one they would likely give you inside of their social media. Before you say, well, everyone's not on social media, well, there's billions of users on social media and billions of people have email, but think about the chances of you getting their private email if you reach out to the owner on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, right? But just to, I forget what I was going to show you guys. I think it was the current message. I mean, the current message is the same one that we use for, and look, you'll have some people that'll say, stop emailing, right? And I'll probably need to blur, I mean, I don't need to blur it out, but basically stop emailing. So I would literally just switch this person to not interested, right? So it's it's a different form of outreach, but each one of these domains is doing 30 per day, right? And so 30 times 10, 300. We're doing 300 per day. If I buy 10 more domains, if I buy 100 domains, there's one guy who owns 900 domains and he's doing like 30,000 outreach a day, right? Byron.
So with the emailing, are you sending out the emails personally, or is it like automated?
So it's all automated, but what needs, I mean, you have to get the list from somewhere, right? Get the email list, plug them into whatever you're going to be using. Just like I would get Instagram accounts, put them in a tracking sheet and have my team reach out to them,
Yeah.
It's the same process of getting all these emails, their names and all that stuff, plugging it in, writing one email, but that email is being blasted out from multiple accounts into multiple, let's say I have a list of 50,000. It will be slowly hitting each one of those 50,000. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right. Is it still the thing is work? The email marketing is still work.
What do you mean?
So what I mean is like still the process is going to be work for the email outreach.
Yeah. What do you mean? Why do you ask?
So I'm just asking that most of the people are saying that the affiliate marketing and the email marketing, all those stuffs are dead.
Yeah.
So it's all a
See?
dead mark.
So And here's why. And this is smart, right? Here's why. Everything works.
Mhm.
The difference is when people tell you it doesn't work, is because they want to sell you what they're using.
All right. All right.
So there are people that say email is dead, right?
Mhm.
But then you have people making millions per month only doing email. I know the
Alright.
guy I just told you that owns 900 email domains, and he's doing
Uh-huh.
30,000 per day. He's reaching out 30,000 people per day. Dude's
Alright.
making millions a month, right? So everything works. You can make millions with you can do it with affiliate marketing. You can do it with e-commerce. You can do it with an agency. You can do it with almost every business. The difference
Alright.
is very few people are willing to do it for a long enough period of time to get actual results, right?
Alright.
Just like we have a Facebook group, there are people that say Facebook groups are dead. Just like I'm doing ads, there are people that say ads are dead. I'm doing cold
Mhm.
outreach. There are people that say cold outreach doesn't work anymore, you know?
Mhm.
So everything works, but it's doing it for a long enough time to get results and actually make good money. Like for me right now, we're not in a testing phase. Everything we're doing, I know it works, but
Mhm.
in order for us to get powerful results, we need to actually do it for a long enough period of time without stopping, right? Like if it's cold outreach, if it's inbound. The reason I haven't stopped posting content, and this will be important for all of you guys, even though I may change the tactic, which is cold outreach, email, but content is strategy. That content, you can change your tactics, but you don't want to always change the strategy because strategy will last for a long period of time. Tactics are what people constantly change, right? So the main strategy is to get in front of people to sell our stuff, right? I may change the way I'm getting in front of people, but I keep posting content on YouTube mainly because no matter what tactic I use, whether it's email, whether it's cold outreach on social media, whether it's cold outreach on email, whether it's ads, whether it's a Facebook group, a Telegram group, a Twitter group, a Discord group, all those people are still going to come back to my content to be nurtured, right? So if I keep putting out content, maybe I don't make 1 million this year, but I will make it eventually because I will have so much content out there. I will be the go-to person in that specific space that I'm putting content in. Now it's inevitable for me not to make money because when you give so much value, no matter what space, whether let's say there's a guy who only talks about affiliate marketing, another guy only talks about e-commerce, because they have so much content out and it's not just content people don't need, but it's valuable. They're constantly going to come back to you. They're going to want, like Hormozy says, when the longer you wait before you ask for their money, the more money they're going to want to give you, if that makes sense.
All right. Cool. So you stated that you're having a coaching session with Alex Morsey, right?
No. I don't have dude, Alex Hormozy, he's making 100 million a year.
All right.
And he only works with people that are doing 3 to 100 million a year. So
All right.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Byron, George, any other questions?
Nothing from me. I wanna ask you something in the Discord chat, but other than that, so cool.
Sweet. George?
All these systems, can you send them to me, or any sort of system you use just for like outreach in particular?
So right
send-
now,
Mhm.
there's a few different systems, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking for, I mean, I already have them. I need to record the trainings around them.
Yeah.
They're all gonna be added. So literally there's a tool we're using right now. I'll tell you the names. I'll send a link right now in the
Yeah.
Zoom. And this one is specifically for, I mean, you could use it for other things, but we've mainly only used it for Instagram and Facebook. Like, so it's a tool. It's called IG email extractor, but you're not just scraping emails. I use it to scrape usernames, right? So
Yeah.
what we would do is we'd scrape their username, whether it's, let's say I go to an influencer with like 100,000 followers. I would scrape all of their, all of their followers, or as many as I can get. I think it limits it per page. Like you'd have to like,
What's it
get 'em-
called?
I just dropped it. You can plug it to Google Chrome and then you activate it, and then you would like manually scrape the names, add them to a tracking sheet, scrape the names, add them to a tracking sheet, right? Now it makes it easier for you to just know who to reach out to every single time. But yeah, I'll also send it to you on.
No, I've just done it.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, I'll just send it to you so I can go back to it.
Sweet. All right, guys. I know this call went a little bit over time. So yeah, that's like the beginning of the call. I was mainly talking about management, but I think the reason I don't just stay on topic is because when you understand how everything works together, I think it's a lot easier for you guys to, one, not just understand what I'm talking about, but it helps you guys understand what my perspective on why I do something a certain way, or why it's done a certain way in order to get the most efficient results, right? Because let's say right now, I'm not making a ton of money, right? But what I'm doing right now is building the foundation, whether it's making sure my team is on point, or if it's doing email, doing cold outreach, having a Facebook group, posting on YouTube. I'm doing these things now. I may not be seeing instant returns, but I know and sometimes it'll go faster than you think, but in a month from now, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, the results are going to keep piling and piling and piling. And I think this is from, I forget his name, Tony Robbins. The further out you put your time horizon, I'll draw one more thing for you guys. And this is from, it's from Tony Robbins. And it's
Yes.
from,
Yeah. Sorry for the interruption. Can you make a video for the email marketing as well?
yeah, like I said, I'm gonna do all this stuff. Like, I don't want to just know these things. I want all of you guys to know them too, because when you guys know them, I can just let you do it.
All right. Cool.
Can you guys see this line, the entire line?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. So right here, time horizons. Okay. So you've got this time horizon, and then you've got this time horizon. So let's say the bottom one is homeless. And then the top one is Elon Musk, just to give you guys a better understanding, right? So the reason that Elon is making the money he has right now, it's not just because he owns all these companies and he's doing all that stuff. It's because he's trying to plan he's looking at the human race 1,000 years from now, right? And everything he's doing is based on this, not everything, but most things he's doing is based on this result. This is what he's paying attention to. And the reason he's looking at it this way, right? It allows him to do the work necessary that makes him a billionaire right now, right? The homeless guy, and I might be explaining this wrong, but the homeless guy, all he's worried about is what food he can get today. Where's he sleeping? What food is he going to get? Where is he sleeping? That's mainly what he's worried about. He's not looking 10 years from now. He's only worried about today or tomorrow, today, tomorrow, today, tomorrow, right? And so his vision is limited. So he's never planning out as far as Elon Musk is planning out. And to make this retrospective, or if that's the right word, Tony Robbins said, try to plan out 10 years, right? And then Alex Hormozi says, you can tell how rich someone is by the timelines that they speak in. Rich people always speak on longer time horizons. because they know that, like, I think this came from Layla Hormozi, Alex Hormozi's wife. She said, if you told her, I think when she was 22 or 24 or 22, that in 10 years she was going to make $100 million, she wouldn't believe you, right? But that's what she did. And then you have some people will prefer, let's say you told someone that in 10 years they were going to make 100 million, but in 6 years they're going to make 6 million. Most people would rather take the 6 million instead of the 100 million, even though, like, they have to make a decision: 100 million in 10 years or 6 million in 6 years or 2 million in 6 years. Most people would prefer the smaller one because it's faster. They can get it quicker, right? Whereas if they were willing to wait that 10 years, they would have 100 million, which is what? Literally more than 10 times the 6 million, the 2 million, right? And so, yes, you may not be seeing the money that you want right now, right? But the further you can push your end goal, but you're still working towards that goal, you're going to achieve it faster and make a lot more. Elon Musk is planning for the next 1,000 years of the human civilization. He's looking at space, travel, all that stuff. He has all these different companies because he's done things, he's created things that gave him the money he needed, and then he put it in towards those things, right? And one last quote, Charlie Munger, billionaire, he said, the first $100,000 that you will make, if you want to make it, right? The first 100,000 is the hardest. But once you've made that 100,000, now you can put it into all your passions. This isn't the entire quote, but once you've made that 100,000, you can put it towards your passions. You can put it into bigger businesses, smaller businesses. You can do whatever you want, but you need to concentrate on making that first $100,000. And when you do that, if your concentration is making that first 100,000, you might say you want to make it in the next year, in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, right? But you will most likely hit it faster than trying to make that same 100,000 in the next 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, right? Because you're looking at it, okay, I can do it in 3 years, but you're doing the work necessary and you'll hit it faster than your expectations, right? And so I'm not saying make your goals smaller. I'm saying plan out, put a bigger goal, and put it on a bigger time horizon, right? Like for me, and I got this from Serge, it's not just about me, but I want my team, I want everyone that I'm working with to hit those same numbers, right? I may be looking to make my first million, but if I'm trying to make my team make their first million, how much do you think I'm going to make if my team members are making their first million, right? So there are people that look at it for themselves, and I'm not trying to be, oh, I'm selfless, because I still want money. I still want to achieve my goals. But if I can create a foundation where the people around me are making more money, that inevitably, it makes it unreasonable for me not to be making money as well, because they're set up and so I'm set up. If it's, let's say I have a business, but I'm making sure everyone around me can have their own business, guess what? I'm giving to them. They're going to want to give to me. They may not give to me, right? But let's say 2 out of 10 wants to give back to me. That's still making me, I'll still have more, right? So last thing, mindset is literally everything. No matter how you're looking at it, no matter how you're thinking about it, mindset is everything. Your view on money determines how much money you're going to make, whether it's you by yourself or the people around you. Change your view on money, respect money, increase your time horizon, and literally that's it. I don't want to take up any more of you guys' time. and I gotta head to the gym. So talk to you guys soon. All right. Have a good one, guys.
All right, see you, bro.
All right, take care.
Sweet.